Hello, everybody. This is Mike and
Beth,
affectionately known as Meth. And by affectionately known as, I do just mean myself. I like to call ourselves that. It makes me sound like we're famous or something. We can put our names together. But we are Meth. And real quickly, let you know, this is our brand new podcast. This is the first episode. This is our introduction episode. Beth and I both turned 50 this year. I turned 50 back in August. Beth actually turned 50 last weekend, right?
yes.
And so Beth had a great idea. Talk about your Big 12. What was that?
Big 12, little 50.
Yeah.
Do you only want me to talk about Big 12? Or
You can talk about both if you
52?
want. Yeah, whatever you feel like.
So I didn't want to be depressed and old, and I wanted to keep life fresh. And I was trying to think about being intentional with my goals so that things would still be exciting and fun, and trying to think of ways that I could do that. But also realizing that even though I would probably want to just take a vacation and go somewhere every week, that's not feasible. So we tried to come up with a way that I could plan to do 12 big things and 50 little things. And the 12 big things, in theory, you would do
Over the next year.
Over the next year.
Yeah.
And in theory, I would do one a month of the big things, but also recognizing you may get sick or you may do two big things at once. So just on the average, somewhere between my birthday and then turning 51, I will hopefully have accomplished 12 big things that are different for me and 50 little things. And then that just keeps things, like I said, exciting in life. Do you want me to talk about
what's some examples of the Big 12? You don't have to give us all of them, but what's a few of the Big 12 that you want to accomplish this year?
So I want to learn to fly fish because that's something that I could at least do with the boys and you, even if Maria doesn't want to do that. I thought about trying to learn to snowboard. I've never done that before, so that's different. And part of that came about because when people were giving me ideas, I've done a lot of outdoorsy things that are more summer, spring, fall, but not a lot of winter activities, because someone had even said things like snowshoeing and things, but I don't know how easily I could pull that off. So snowboarding would be fun. Another idea was a tattoo, but I don't know about that one because I can't decide what I would permanently want on my body.
I wanted us to both get matching tattoos. We talked about this. I thought meth. If we got that on our bodies somewhere.
No, that's exactly why I don't necessarily want a tattoo. That would be a bad idea to do something like that. What were some of the others? Because I had a lot.
I mean, that's good. That's just
scuba diving.
Scuba diving, yeah.
But which is more of a commitment. And that's the other thing. Some of the Big 12 are like, I just go once and go fly fishing. So it's just like finding a day. Some of the things like scuba diving, I'll have to take lessons or get certified, do things like that. So it's going to be a bigger commitment.
All right. And so that got me thinking, I'm not a bucket list person. I'm not a goal setter in as far as like, hey, I want to visit this country before I die or anything like that. But it did get me thinking, if I was going to do a list of 12 big things, what would I have on it? And I started thinking through some things, and I've actually started to put together a little list. But on that list is I've always wanted to do a podcast. And I've mentioned it to Beth in the past, and she's poo-pooed the idea. Let's face it, podcasts, they're self-indulgent. Like, you assume people care about you as much as you care about yourself, but in reality, they don't. But I think Beth and I have led a pretty interesting life these first 50 years. And I think we have some good stories and some good life lessons to be able to share. And so
with our 5 to 10 committed followers that I anticipate we'll have 5 to 10 people who will want to hear these stories.
And we'll get to that. Mm-hmm. Maybe, we'll try to maybe even today, I don't know, we'll try to pick out who we think may, listen. But, my idea for this podcast, so that told you how we got here. It all started with Beth's list, and now she's begrudgingly doing my podcast because it's on my list of 12 big things. So that tells you how we got here. What is this podcast going to be about? This podcast is going to be about the intersection in life of marriage, family, careers, and ministry. That's all we know. That's who we are. That's what we know. Those are the 4 topics that we feel comfortable discussing. You know, our marriage, our families, our careers, and our ministry. And so we're just going to examine each week kind of things that are going on at that crossroads, because let's face it, all those things at some point in the week seem to intersect in our own lives. Would you agree?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's deep. Thanks for expanding on that. So that's it. So
okay, but time out. This is yours. You know, this was your Big 12. I'm working on it begrudgingly. I'll get there.
All right. So here's what we need. We need more than 5 listeners, and I think Beth will come around and want to do an episode 2. But what we're doing today is we're just kicking off this podcast. The format, hopefully starting next week, we're going to dive into all 4 of those subjects every single week. And we're not going to spend a lot of time, maybe 7 or 8 minutes per, category. And so you're looking at about a 30-minute podcast or so, give or take. And we're just going to share some things that are going on and some thoughts. And hopefully you guys listen and comment and want to hear more. And who knows? You brought up who would listen to us. That was actually one of my questions I wanted to ask. So our parents, all 4 of them, Beth's mom and dad, my mom and dad, are all still alive, are all still very active people. Mm-hmm. Not the most technology sound people. And they're all in their 70s. Out of the 4, which of the 4 do you think would, number 1, figure out how to listen to a podcast, and number 2, would listen to our podcast every week? Because my answer may surprise you.
I think my dad will figure out how to listen to it, but my mom may be more likely to listen to it.
Why? Because you're the apple of her eye?
Well, of course. No, just because, I don't know. I just think she would.
All right.
It's just what moms do.
All right.
So you'll probably think your mom would listen to yours because you're definitely the apple of her eye.
I am the apple of her eye.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amanda, my sister, if that is your name. Actually, I have no faith in my parents either. So they, maybe because they call me every other week at 9:00 at night, Mike, I need your help with the computer. And, it's the answer is always turn it off and turn it back on again, and it works. So I love my parents.
On the IT crowd?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love my parents. I have no faith in them. I think your mom, I would agree. That's who I can see your mom figuring out how to listen to our podcast and listening to it every week.
I can too.
And she may even figure out a way to share it with her friends there around the countryside.
We have a lot of faith in you there, Mom. A lot.
A lot. All right. So
because you're supposed to get us up from 1 listener to the other 4.
Yeah, that's 1 down. So Shirley is the head of our podcast promotion team. She hadn't even listened to this one yet.
Yes, she doesn't even know what's happening.
She doesn't. So real quickly, just because we're not going to go over this every week. This is it. This is the intro, who we are. So a lot of you guys that are going to be listening know us, but just to recap, our four subjects: marriage. Beth and I have been married for, believe it or not, 26 years.
I'm glad you did the math.
Yes, Beth is shocked to hear that.
I thought it was more like 20.
She did.
Yeah.
She's had 20 good years and 6 that she'd like to forget about, I guess. We'll tell that story some other time. But yeah, I am the one that keeps up with all the dates and remembers. I am the romantic.
Definitely.
The sentimental. But yeah, we've been married 26 years. Family, like I said, you already heard, our parents are still around. We have 3 kids. You don't have to name names, but you can name, if you want to name gender and I guess where they're at in life and all of that.
Okay, our oldest son is in college studying biology, and he's in the mountains of North Carolina. Our middle child, who definitely thinks that she's terribly mistreated, but is the least mistreated of anyone.
That's classic middle child syndrome.
Yeah, but she has that. She is studying film, and our oldest is studying biology, and she's in college as well. And then our youngest is in 9th grade. So he just started high school. So we say we're like the hex on the middle, with Axel, Sue, and Brick.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're very similar, our 3 kids at times.
Well,
I mean, the daughter's a little eccentric,
She had braces a long time.
She had braces a long time, The oldest boy is an athlete. The youngest boy is...
Brick likes fonts.
Yeah.
But Josh has his our youngest has his interesting things that he likes.
He does.
Yeah.
And so we're almost empty nesters. So 2 are out of the house most of the time. And the third one, of course, is there full time. Careers. You got a pretty good career, Beth. What's your career like?
It's exciting.
Yeah, it is.
Drama field. No, I'm just kidding. So I am an attorney, and I work at an academic medical center. And in addition to that, I teach as an adjunct and for a master's program that's online. So those are the big jobs. And then I also have what Mike likes to call an internship with Project Re3, but it's not. I'm a director. I'm not an intern, but it's an unpaid directorship. So I guess it probably is like an unpaid internship. Anyway, so I do that for Project Re3 for our nonprofit.
Yeah, so Beth sells herself short. She is a very accomplished attorney, well respected in her field. She is considered an expert and gets to go speak at conferences all over the country, like New Orleans and Miami and Chicago and New York. And I get asked to speak places too. I get to go to Valdosta, Georgia, and Frederick, Maryland.
Dinwiddie,
Virginia.
That's a good one.
So yeah, I mean, I'm hitting the metropolis speaking circuit also. But Beth is a very accomplished attorney. Like she said, she is a law type professor, and she wears a lot of other hats outside of that. With her undergrad college, she's the president of the alumni board? Is that the exact title?
President of the college alumni board. Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. So she wears a lot. So she has a very demanding career. My career, I am a professional minister. That's it. That's all I know how to do. So through high school and college, I worked a bunch of different jobs. From grocery store to shoe store to installing heat and air, but literally for the last 28 years, all I've known is ministry. So I've kind of left all that other stuff behind, and that's it. That's all I know how to do. And I'm a professional minister, and I've been youth pastor, children's pastor, college pastor, church planner, lead pastor, associate pastor, just a lot. And so right now...
And now podcaster.
Because
it rhymes. It goes nicely with all that
you
just said.
Yeah, it does. And so for me, where I'm at right now is I'm executive director of a nonprofit. And within that nonprofit...
And I'm his intern.
And Beth is my intern. And she's worked hard these last 11 years. And so she started off... interning, and now 11 years later, she finally got a promotion over the last couple of weeks to assistant to the director of missions.
Where he forwards me emails and tells me to call people. That's great.
Yeah. And so, we will hear more about Project Re3 and our nonprofit later, throughout the weeks, hopefully, but that's kind of who we are. And then the last thing is ministry. And a lot of that is what I just spoke about. And I've been in full-time ministry for 28 years. So Beth and I have been married for 26. We met while I was interning at a large church, and she's been with me every step of the way. So ministry has been in our life. We can't get away from it. And so we're going to speak open and honestly about that and what that's been like, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of stuff. And I thought about changing names to protect the innocent on some of these stories that we may tell, but I don't know. We'll see. I remember your parents one time. I think it may have even been right after we got married. They gave me a book for Christmas one year, and it was written by this retired pastor. And the title of the book was something like Stories I Couldn't Tell from the Pulpit.
Yeah.
Right? And I was ready to dive in. I thought it was going to be good stuff. But No, it was like one time Betty Sue brought her cat to church. Just like what?
Edgy stuff.
Yeah, edgy. So it's not going to be that kind of stuff. So who knows? We might throw some people under the bus. We'll see. But we do. So that's all we know. We know marriage. We know family. We know careers, and we know ministry.
We also can't mess with buses, but we'll tell that story another time too.
No, we cannot. No, don't do that. Anything else you want to add to that? Kind of what to look forward to in these next several weeks?
Oh, well, also I can chronicle my little 50, which will be exciting things like trying a new tea or reading a new book, perhaps even trying a new food at every restaurant I visit, this podcast, so they might get little tidbits and insights from all the deep lessons I learned from this adventure.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That'll keep people on the edge of their seats.
Yes.
If turning back, they'll have to tune in for that.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And because of the way I like to be, we laid out kind of marriage, family, careers, ministry. And we're going to talk about those 4 things every week. Like I said, 7-8 minutes per topic. But they're not always going to be in that order. So you're going to have to listen to the whole thing to find out when Beth kind of drops some news and drops that little nugget about, I don't know, one of her big 12s or little 50 or something like that. So that's it. That's Meth for you. So that's who we are. And
it's the worst name, but okay.
I love it.
Yes.
I was so...
That was Mike's idea, not mine. I did not approve that name. I mean, it wasn't like marketing. That wasn't my idea, but...
It's memorable.
It is, that's for sure.
I mean, they had Bennifer, right?
Yeah.
And it was like Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez.
What was Brad and Angelina? Brangelina? I don't know.
But yeah, so
I'm not
that's what I'm
into
saying.
pop culture, though. That's my problem.
That's what I'm saying. Meth works. Mike and Beth. I mean, that
was
works.
one of the little 50, though. You talked about how I'm not a romantic. One of the challenges is I have to watch Hallmark movies because they're so...
Movies or just one?
I don't know. They're so corny, and they just like, just like some of those corny love stories and movies and things. So anyway, but I'm really pushing myself outside of my comfort zone on some things like that.
Yeah. So ladies, don't be listening to this podcast if you want romantic advice on how to woo your husband. You will not get that here. It's
Sorry.
Zero. So that's it. Feel good about this? The first podcast is almost over?
Let's see. Well, we'll see how long it takes my mom to find it. I guess if no one listens, it may even feel a little better because it won't feel as out there with people, I mean, once we have the coast-to-coast listeners, the international audience, I'm just afraid I won't be able to go anywhere.
We do have a
without
friend
people.
that is like the Joel Osteen of the Philippines.
Yes.
And so as soon as he starts spreading this over there, we are going to be huge in the Philippines.
Well, I'm just worried that when I go out, people will hear my voice and my distinctive accent, and then I just won't have any privacy anymore.
No, they'll
I'm just
hear you
concerned that they'll know.
in restaurants.
It's just going to really change our lives these last, like since we've been on the first 50, my last 50, because I'm going to live to be 100. But yeah, I'm concerned about what that'll do for me when people are just coming for autographs all the time. But I will be a good person and always give autographs.
Good. Selfies, pictures, all kinds of stuff.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yes. But no one's going to know what we look like. Only our voices.
That's right.
Will be a mystery.
I bet some of these internet sleuths can track us down.
You think they could find us?
I mean, what is that documentary, Don't F with Cats?
Well,
I mean, they found a murderer based on cats.
True.
So I think they could find us. Like, it's not hard.
I think it depends on the demographic, though, that's listening to us,
Right.
how tech savvy they are. We'll see.
Yeah. Hey, I do want to say 2 more things. One is, obviously, we are not professionals. We are literally just recording this on our iPhone sitting on a table.
This is really shocking to the audience.
It is. So we have no idea how this is going to sound. It may sound awful, but it's not going to get any better. This is who we are.
Did you also disclose that none of this is scripted?
Yeah, this is live. You're getting it. And probably most weeks is going to be unedited. I don't know if there's anything in this episode that needs to be edited out. So
I didn't cuss. So
no, and I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Well, I had an idea. I thought about this today. We're going to have a sponsor for every show. And today's sponsor is Pastor Tees. That's right, Pastor Tees, like a pastor of a church. Tees as in t-shirts. It's a little operation out of Duncan, Oklahoma. PastorTees.com if you want to go check it out. But they sent us a couple of t-shirts, and Beth is wearing one today that says, "I heart Jesus, but I cuss a little." So I posted that picture on Facebook. I don't know if you've seen it. It has blown up, and so tons of comments. Everyone's in agreement.
No, that, like I would.
There was a couple. Yeah, there was a couple of funny comments, but most people were saying, "I want that shirt. That is me."
Yeah.
So there you go. If that sounds like a shirt you would wear, "I heart Jesus, but I cuss a little," then check out PastorTees.com, Duncan, Oklahoma. If I got that website wrong, I will correct it on the next podcast. But lots, they have, I don't know, 20 or 30 different t-shirts. Very cool. And they feel great, don't they? I mean, they're like really well made. So check out PastorTees.com.
They probably just need to like send us more shirts so they can just be the sponsor all the time.
And I would say they're non-traditional Christian
shirts.
You know, like
I don't typically like traditional Christian
shirts.
I
don't think they're selling shirts about Jesus and cussing in Lifeway.
Good point.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Hopefully there will be many, many more. This is Mike.
And Beth.
And we are Meth.
Gosh, that was painful.